She was 19 and sleeping on a narrow wooden bench behind a shuttered bus terminal, counting the coins in her pocket like they might multiply if she stared long enough. They didn't. $9. That was all she had left. No calls coming in. No one asking where she was, just the echo of footsteps passing by people with somewhere to go. She had stopped crying 2 days ago. Not because things got better, but because something inside her went quiet. The listing didn't even feel real when she saw it. A small perfume workshop, old needs clearing $9, no photos inside. No details, just a location and a number. She didn't think, she just went. Because when you only have $9, you don't choose what you want. You choose what doesn't disappear. But what she didn't know was the workshop wasn't just abandoned, and somewhere behind its cracked walls, a locked room had been waiting. Long before she ever arrived. Early CTA. Before we continue, if stories like this stay with you, the quiet kind, the slow kind, consider subscribing, because this one doesn't rush, and some truths take time to unfold. Backstory. Her name was Mira, and long before she sat on that cold wooden bench, she knew what warmth felt like. Not luxury, not comfort in the way people usually describe it, but something softer, something steady. It came from her grandmother. A small woman with gentle hands and a voice that never needed to be loud. Their house was always filled with scent. Not perfume. Not anything store-bought, but something deeper. Boiling. Petals, crushed leaves, warm oil infused slowly over fire. Her grandmother didn't call it anything special. Just work. But to Mira, it felt like magic. Not the kind you see. The kind you breathe. She would sit on the floor as a child watching steam rise from clay pots, listening to quiet instructions. Not too fast, let it settle. Smell it before you touch it. Her grandmother believed scent carried memory, that certain combinations could hold feelings, moments, even people. Mira didn't fully understand it then. She remembered everything. The smell of jasmine at dusk, the sharp edge of citrus peel, the slow grounding warmth of sandalwood. Her grandfather was different. He spoke less. But he built things, shelves, boxes, wooden frames to hold glass bottles in place. He didn't explain much, but once when Mira was watching him carve a small compartment into a thick wooden board, she asked why it needed to be hidden. He paused, looked at her, then said quietly, "Not everything valuable should be easy to find." She never forgot. That years passed. Her grandmother's hands grew slower. The pot stopped boiling as often, and one day they stopped completely. After she was gone, the house felt empty in a way that wasn't just physical. The scent disappeared, replaced by something colder. Her parents didn't continue the work. They didn't believe in it, said it wasn't practical, didn't make enough. Slowly the tools were packed away, the bottles disappeared, the shelves were cleared, and Mira learned to stay quiet about it. Because every time she brought it up, the conversation ended the same way. That's the past. But it mattered. She once said. Her father sighed. That doesn't mean it's useful. That was the first time something inside her cracked. The arguments grew over time. Not loud, but constant until, one night after another quiet disagreement that stretched too far, her mother didn't defend her. Her father didn't argue. They just stopped including her. A few days later she left. Not with anger, but with something heavier. Disconnection, present journey. The workshop was on the edge of a small, forgotten street far from the city center, where buildings leaned closer together like they were trying to hold themselves up. The sign above the door was barely readable. Paint peeled. Letters faded. The key was left, under a loose brick, just like the message said. She held it for a moment before unlocking the door. Cold metal, heavier than it should be. The door opened slowly, a dry creak. Inside the air felt still, not stale, just untouched. Dust hung in the light, like something. Suspended in time shelves lined the walls, glass bottles, some empty, some with residue at the bottom. The smell hit her gently, faint but familiar. Her chest tightened. She stepped inside, closed the door behind her, and just stood there, listening. There was no sound, but It didn't feel empty. It felt paused, discovery build up. The first thing she noticed was how clean certain parts were. Not everything, but specific areas, a section of the floor, near the back a corner shelf too clean compared to everything else. She ran her fingers along it, no dust why. She didn't know, but it stayed in her mind. That night she sat on the floor back against the wall. The silence wrapped around her, but somewhere in it, there was something else. Faint. Ticking. Not loud. Not mechanical. Irregular. She held her breath, listened again. Nothing. Then again, tick. She stood, followed the sound. It led nowhere clear, just around as if it came from behind something. But what? The next day she started cleaning. Carefully. Slowly. Touching everything, like it mattered. Because, somehow it did. She found a drawer that wouldn't open fully. Something blocked it from inside. She tried forcing it. It stopped halfway. Again something behind it. She knelt down, peered through the gap darkness, but depth more space than a drawer should have. Her heartbeat picked up. She stepped back, looked at the wall. It didn't match. Slightly uneven, like it had been altered later while moving a shelf. She noticed a faint outline. A rectangle, barely visible, on the wall, too straight to be random. Too precise to be damage. Her fingers traced it. Stopped at one corner. A small metal edge hidden. Her breath slowed. Her mind didn't race. It focused. Like something inside her recognized this moment. Like her grandfather's voice still echoed somewhere. Not everything valuable should be easy to find. Big discovery. It took her time. She didn't rush, didn't force anything. She worked around the edges, gently, patiently, until the panel shifted. A soft click, then silence. The wall opened inward, revealing a narrow, hidden room, dark, still untouched. Stood there for a long moment, then stepped inside. The air was cooler, different, the scent stronger, familiar. Her chest tightened. Shelves lined the small room, but these were different. Organized, intentional glass bottles filled with preserved oils. Labels handwritten, careful, precise. Her grandmother's style. Her hands trembled. But then she saw it, a small wooden chest placed at the center. She opened it slowly, inside wrapped in cloth stacks of money, old but intact, more than she had ever seen. Her breath caught, but beneath it, something else. Notebook. She lifted it carefully, opened the first page. The handwriting, her grandmother's. Clear, steady. She read. Not instructions. Not explanations. But entries. Memories. Methods notes. About preserving scent over time. About hiding what matters until it's safe, and then a final line: if you found this, you remembered. Tears blurred her vision. The room wasn't just hidden, it was protected, waiting transformation phases. She didn't leave, didn't run with the money, didn't sell everything. Instead, she stayed. At first, she just cleaned slowly, restoring the workshop, learning again. By doing. Not perfectly. Her first attempts failed. Scents didn't hold. Mixtures turned sour. But she didn't stop, because something inside her had returned. Not confidence. Not certainty. But connection. A nearby shop owner noticed her opening the workshop each morning, left her small things, glass bottles, labels, said little. But it helped. Weeks turned into months. The workshop changed. Not dramatically. But enough. Enough to feel alive again. She used the money, carefully, not all at once, just enough to keep going. Emotional message. What she found wasn't just money, it was a bridge between what was lost and what still remained, proof that some things don't disappear, they wait for the right moment, for the right person, for someone who remembers even when they're told to forget. Ending one evening, the workshop door stayed open longer than usual. Soft light spilled onto the street inside. The air carried something new, not strong, not overwhelming, just enough, a quiet, blend. Familiar. Mira stood behind the counter, her hands steady, her breath calm. She thought about the bench, the $9, the silence, and how close she came to believing it was the end, but it wasn't. It was a door locked, waiting, and she was the one who opened it.